the courses. In order to understand the thought process behind this ILOC course, may I call upon our principal, Dr. Joshi sir, to tell us or guide us more about, why do we have, what is the thought process of having this ILOCs in the curriculum. So may I request Joshi sir to kindly guide us
Yeah,
on this?
yes. Thank you, Dr. Ame Marathe. Uh, Dear students, good morning. I'm sure you are familiar with your program structure. As Marathe sir has mentioned, that you have to undergo two DLOC verticals and one ILOC verticals. So DLOC verticals orientation will be conducted by your department separately. I'm here to uh, make the idea clear about institute level optional courses. You can go through the number of verticals institute is offering. It is from technical, management, allied courses, and even the additional programs which will help to satisfy your needs, to re-energize you, or to groom your personality. Okay, so institute has tried to offer you variety of institute level optional courses. The beauty of institute optional courses is all the courses are interdisciplinary. And if you see the number of courses enlisted in each vertical, you will see that they will give you the knowledge of preliminary knowledge of the subject and little bit advanced knowledge of the subject, so that if at all you want to make your career, you want to design your career in a specific interdisciplinary program, it will create the foundation for you to move further or to march further towards your goal. So this is the intention, and today's program is the orientation program. I have requested each individual faculty to spare maximum 10 to 15 minutes on their thought process on the subject, and then students can contact those respective faculty members to make the idea more clear, so that all the subjects can be addressed in one go, and you will have preliminary idea about the subject, what is the purpose of offering this subject, and what all are the things you will be delivered in these subject matters. So that is what is the main motive of today's orientation. I am sure you will be more than satisfied at the end of today's program, and I wish you all happy orientation. Once the orientation done and you have chosen the subjects, then definitely uh, um, I can say happy learning. But for now, happy orientation. Feel free to ask your queries, to list down your queries and ask those queries to respective faculty members. In the beginning of the next semester, it will be mandatory for all semester 6 students to meet their respective mentors assigned by the department and give them the idea which elective you have chosen, department level as well as institute level. The detailed guidelines for that will be issued well before the commencement of the semester, that is in the month of January. Okay, so for today, listen the presentations of each and every expert carefully, and choose your institute level elective wisely. Thank you very much. All the best.
Thank you, Joshi sir, for your guidance on this ILOCs. Now, keeping in mind the time limit, I request every student, if you have any queries, please post your queries in the chat box. At the end of every orientation, at the end of every subject's orientation, we will take questions from your chat box and ask the expert who is there from each of the domain. So let us start without wasting any more time. So we have first institute level specialization domain, which is on business and entrepreneurship. And we have expert Dr. Arun Pillai sir, who is going to guide us on the subject of IL 360 entrepreneurship. Thank you. So may I request Arun Pillai sir to please.
Good morning, Amay Marathe sir. Good morning to all the students who have joined for the orientation on the Zoom and the YouTube Meet. You know, the orientation what we have here is entrepreneurship, development, management. We call it by a name called entrepreneurship, you know. Because of time constraint, I'll quickly run through the presentations and we'll be open for questions, maybe in that 10 minutes of time duration. Okay. So entrepreneurship is not something very new what you hear, or it's a very common buzzword now, and there's a very common word which goes around which says you should not be a job seeker, you should be a job giver. And this job giver doesn't happen immediately. No, it has to be gradually learned. Ki how do you become an entrepreneur? And it is not we don't live in an era where business can be done just by the strength of money. There was a stage where we used to do business just by having a lot of cash in hand or some land in hand or property in hand. We are in a very different world today where we are really creating a business now. We are really making a new business. And engineers are the forefront of doing it, because new products come to them, new designs come to them. So that is what the world is turning on to. And you'll find a lot of fundings what come from the government, from the college, from so many authorities to establish your own entrepreneurial ventures and all, you know. So if we define entrepreneurship, it is it is how you establish your own business, your own working culture, and your own set of things there. Okay. Now the next aspect was come to many is, can I be an entrepreneur? Can I be an entrepreneur? This is where our common doubt is. Should I be basically continue with my job, or should I? Uh, can I be an entrepreneur? Now let me show you a few examples here. These are some school kids, if we know them. These are some school kids who have become entrepreneurs. Uh, Rockstar Media is India's biggest digital marketing firm, and we are all aware of these kind of color palettes, these kind of apps which are there on our Google Play Store. They record the biggest hits and downloads. Then normally what tendencies we have, what worries we have, what opportunities we find. That is what we are trying to learn out here. You know. These are the aspects what we are trying to focus in the whole learning of the 6 months. These are the skill sets what we are trying to develop in the next 6 months. You have to be innovative. You have to be, what all knowledge you have, you are trying to put it forward. You will try to analyze a lot of case studies. These are the various entrepreneurs, they succeeded, they failed, why they succeeded, why they failed, those aspects there. Then the syllabus what we have now for the ILOC, which is design, is an overview, the opportunities, the types of businesses, the plan, business plans, marketing plans, and why failures normally happen. This is how the syllabus has been designed. And as the normal ILOCs and normal subjects goes, there are IAs, there are presentations, there university examinations, and entrepreneurship as a subject cannot go by marks. You cannot define, I want to get good marks, I take entrepreneurship. No, if you really have a flair somewhere in your mind, somewhere in your concept, somewhere when you started engineering, one day I need to have a company of my own. One day I need to have an entrepreneurial venture of my own. I need to have so many employees under me. I need to run this business one day. In that case, then this is the course what you need to go for. I would say it is not for the marks and all those things. You have got so many other alternatives for marks and those things. I mean, if there's a passion for you to become an entrepreneur, if there's a passion for you to really start something of your own, maybe you have some glitches coming into your mind, you have got some confusions, okay, this is where I'm start, then I would suggest you to learn it properly, because entrepreneurial ventures are basically very scientifically learned, very engineeringly, what do you call, they devise it and then they become successful. Nobody becomes successful by luck or just by fortune or something like that. So you really need to put in a lot of hard work, put a lot to answers what questions come up to you during your venture there. So It's a very small this thing basically. I have kept it, I've restricted it because I would like to take up some questions there in case there are any on the chat box. Uh,
Yeah. So students, if you have any queries related to this subject, please post it in chat box.
or they can ask also directly, no issues. No?
Yeah.
Okay, right. Okay.
Can I add, sir?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Dear students, referring to the evaluation policy for this particular subjects, as usual, there will be two internal evaluations and one end semester evaluation. The instructors of the course have rights to change the evaluation methodology. In last year's, uh, when we proposed this subject to last year's batch, all the assessments, 50% assessment of in semester was by pen paper examination and 50% by presentations, and end semester examination was 100% pen paper. This year the institute might change the evaluation process, and uh, you may be asked to prepare a detailed project report of your startup or the organization or the enterprise you want to start or something like that. There are chances that you may not have to appear for the end semester theory paper and pen examination. It might be some demonstration or some experiment, some write up or some presentation or something like that. The evaluation methodology will be instructed to you by the panel of experts during the semester. So be ready for that. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Arun sir. Uh,
Yes, sir.
Students, if you have any queries, you can contact sir later also related to subject and syllabus. Now we will move to the next vertical in the institute level that will be presented by Lokande sir.
Okay, whether my screen is visible?
Yes, sir. Screen is visible. You are audible.
Thank you. Okay. Dear students, good morning. Good morning, all. So the name of the subject is IPR and patenting. IPR means intellectual property rights. Um, like we are having certain rights on our property. For example, you own a flat, you own a car, you own your mobile phone. Or when you own it, this is your property. But in this case, the intellectual property rights, you are the owner of your own idea or your own innovation. So this is what the subject is dealing with. So in like technical term, like what exactly the IPR is, and then we'll start with the syllabus, the contents of syllabus. The intellectual property, this is an intangible creation of the human mind, and which can be expressed or translated into the tangible form. Let us consider there is a idea of a car design in your mind. Now this is what the intangible creation, and then you are translating your this idea into like tangible form in terms of like making a clay model, in terms of making a prototype, like this. So as a software engineer, so there is some idea in your mind, you wanted to create certain Android or any other application, and then you convert it into the coding. So this property or this intellectual thing is your own property, and you got certain rights to hold this property. Now, when you are having certain idea or creation, and this when you are disclosing this innovation to the government, in return of that, from the government, you are going to get the monopoly right for 20 years. This is in case of patent, so that no one can copy your idea or your patent and take the benefit out of it. But then why the knowledge of this IPR is useful for us? So patent knowledge of this IPR, irrespective of your branch, irrespective of your domain, is irrespective of your domain, irrespective of your branch, it is useful in all the fields because the innovation is going on in all the industry sectors, right from IT, software, electronics, automobile, and all that. So as far as career is concerned, a patent advisor earns 1 lakh to 10 lakh per month. The normal patent agent charges 50 to 80K for to draft the patent. You can work as a freelancing patent agent or the advisor along with your own job. It will be value add into your research, further research. You can act as a consultant for industry colleges. So these are some of the career options. And finally, this patent knowledge can help to build a stronger India. Now let us move on to the syllabus. So for this subject, IPR and patenting, you are there are only like three theory subjects. There is no term work, no practical, and no oral. So internal assessment is done on the basis of two internal assessment of 40 marks. Now let us move on to the objective of this course. Why this course is aimed to. So this course will introduce you the certain like fundamental aspects to what exactly the intellectual property right is. Then what, how to search the patent, how to file the patent, how to file the copyright, right from from your side without contacting any agent or without contacting anyone else. Then the outcome of this course, you are going to understand the importance of the IPR, the types of various patents. You will be able to search, draft, and file the patent and copyright application to the patent office. You can learn the recent trends of the IPR. Then it can be like a good career option in terms of like R&D, IP council in research organization. You are going to get many the government jobs. The engineers from various sectors like electronics, ECS, telecommunication, computer, IT, automobile, they are hired as a patent examiner. So this is a patent government job. Then private sector in the industry, they have R&D unit, and the students who are having the knowledge of IPR, they will be preferred over there. And finally, the patent agent and trademark agent, this is the another career option which is available over. So now go on to the syllabus. So the complete syllabus is structured along one total 6 chapters. The first chapter is mainly dealing with the overview of the IPR, and then second chapter is completely focusing on the patents, the elements of patent, what is patentable, what is not patentable, what is the procedure for the registration, how to surrender the patent, how to revoke the patent, infringement of patent, remedies, penalties, and all this. Then copyright. So like what are the things that can be copyrighted? The literary, dramatic, music, artistic, dance tapes, cinematograph, films, sounds, recordings. So and even you will be able to like file the copyright after studying this particular chapter. Trademark. Most of the car manufacturing company you identify on the basis of their logo, or there is a logo of HP on your laptop. This is what the trademark. Then different like we are going to study the different types of trademarks, logos, non-registrable trademarks, registrable trademark, what is allowed, what is not allowed. All these things will be studied in this chapter. Then certain acts related to the patents. So these are the some of the acts which will be like used into the patent filing, infringement, and breaches will be studied over here. And then last chapter is dealing with the Indian intellectual property rights policy. So the policy defined by the government in 2016 and the steps to promote the IPR and government. So this is what is taken here into the chapter number 6. Now, so what can be protected? Just to give the idea within 1 minute, I will share in the 3 slides what can be protected. Let us consider you are having your mobile phone and what can be protected under the IPR in this particular mobile phone. So when you consider the copyright, so the user interface, the software packaging, this can be covered, or this can be protected under the copyright. So whatever the design, whatever the like appearance of or software interference is there, interface is there, that can be protected under the copyright. Now registered trademark. So all these like logos and all these things, they can be protected and covered under the registered trademarks. in design, a design patent. So outer shape. So that's why other like the shape and the design of all the mobile companies, they are different and unique from each other. So that can be considered into protected under the design patent. Then what can be covered into the patent? The hardware technology, the circuitries which is inside your mobile phone is covered under the patent. So this is all about your subject that we are going to study. The overall what is IP, then patents, then copyrights and the trademarks, and then various acts and law and the government policy. That's it, very simple and small syllabus of the patents. So in case if you have any doubt or questions, you are free to ask.
Thank you, sir. Students, this entrepreneurship and IPR patenting will be coming under the same vertical, that is called business and entrepreneurship, which is group 1 for the vertical. If you have any queries related to this subject, please post it into chat box. We will take it now.
All right. Or in case if you don't have any questions now, but if you feel that after going through the syllabus, if you have any questions, please route it to either me or Abhay sir, or you can directly speak to Lokande sir after this session. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lokande sir. Now moving to the second group in the ILOC, that is bioengineering. I will be asking Richa ma'am to take the orientation for the subject introduction to bioengineering.
Thank you.
Yeah, ma'am, just a second.
Yes.
There's a question in chat box. Do we have a choice in choosing between these two subjects? Amay sir, you will be taking this?
Yes, I saw the question. So as I said earlier, so you have to select any one out of this 6 different specializations. So even if you're opting for business and entrepreneurship, so in business and entrepreneurship, out of these 2 subjects, you have to select any one. I hope that answers my question.
So few groups are having 2 subjects to offer as of at the start of the vertical, and few groups are having 1 compulsory subject to offer.
Right. May I request Richa madam to please proceed with the second group, which is bioengineering, and the subject is introduction to bioengineering. Please go ahead, madam.
Thank you, Amay sir. So just continuing the same things. This is, as sir said, this is the second vertical, which is bioengineering. And the first subject under this specialization is Introduction to Bioengineering, which is the first ILOC. So I know this is something new to you all, right? Which you might not have studied or known about it in your earlier semesters. So I will just try to explain whatever best I can within the time period. But definitely, if you have any doubts, you can, as sir said, you can anytime reach out to me. So to start with, I would just like to explain what bioengineering vertical comprise of subjects. We will have Introduction to Bioengineering in SEM 6, then Biomedical Instrumentation in your SEM 7, and Medical Image Processing in SEM 8. So these are the 3 subjects under this domain. So the first subject will be Introduction to Bioengineering. But what do you mean by bioengineering? Now, see, you have studied all your core subjects during these few semesters, where you were addressing to machines, components, softwares, and all related to engineering, right? Now, just take an example that whenever you go and meet a doctor, right, the different things which the doctor is using to diagnose or treat the problem is actually made by engineers, right? For example, right from the stethoscope to the CT scan machines, right? All are made by engineers. So what happens is, if suppose a particular engineer is in a domain where he is trying to give a solution to a medical problem, he should understand the basics of at least some terms. He should understand what is there in medical domain, right? In order to make you all aware of that background, this specialization has been offered, right? And I would like to address a very serious issue at this stage. See, you all know maximum medical equipments are imported, right? And there are many implants, medicines, which we are relying on outside country. Now, there is a very much need that all these are made in our own country, so that the cost, and at the end, this cost is bear by the patient, right? So if all we contribute and get all this done here, definitely this is going to serve in a long term, right? So I want that all we engineers should opt for this domain and give our contribution in this field so that we can serve the nation, right? Now, in bioengineering, as I said, in this discipline, we are going to apply our engineering principle to biological systems, right? And at the same time, we will be providing all those technical supports which are required to develop those biomedical equipments. Now, as an objective of this course, as I told you, what you are going to learn is you will be trying to understand the human body first, right? Because what happens is whenever you are going to solve any problem or you are going to give your expertise in this domain, you should understand, as I said, what are those medical terms. For example, if the person is talking about the bone structure, that it is made up of 2 layers, you should understand how the bone actually are, how many joints are there, how these joints behave, right? So basically now we are trying to understand a human machine, right? So that whenever, because all these machines, all these softwares or whatever you are going to develop, or you are doing some software simulation or you're developing app, these all are going to be roam around our human body, right? So the first objective is that you should understand how a human body is made up of. Then, you know, a human body is comprising of so many things there, right? You have bone, tissues, everything. So that knowledge also is actually mandatory when you are in this domain. At the same time, as I said, there are so many joints in our body, right? How they behave, what are the forces acting on it? That definitely is a much required knowledge in this field. Apart from that, there are many boundary conditions, many laws, engineering laws, which we can apply in this particular domain, that also need to be understood. And then again, more as I talked about, that implants are there, right? So how are these implants, how they are being made? All this knowledge is much required, right? At the same time, these are definitely in line with the objectives only. What I want to put more stress on, what you are going to learn here, right? So as I told, because see, it is not possible to teach everything in this small time frame, right? So what you will be learning basically will be what is tissue biomechanics, right? How they are made up of, how they behave, what are the theories which you can apply, right? And how they are made up of. At the same time, more importantly, you will be learning about joint biomechanics. You must have studied mechanics in your first year, right? Where you are studying the behavior of linkages and your force diagrams and all that. So the same thing you will be studying about our human joints and human bones. So you know there are hip joint, knee joint, ankle joint. So how they behave, that you would be learning in this subject. At the same time, very important thing is materials. Now see, you have so many machines, right? There are many implants which are going into the body. There are many things which has to be implanted in the body. So which materials are possible, which can stay in our body? For that also you need to understand those biomaterials, right? Then, as I told you, application of this is very much important, because once you learn it, you need to understand how you are going to apply this on the real world, right? So this would be the content of this subject, but I will take more time to tell you what are the possibilities in this domain, right? So before that, as you all know, like other subjects, there would be assessment for this course. That would be 40-mark internal assessment and 60-mark SEM exam. And as Principal Sir said, definitely the second component can be converted into a project which you will be doing along with students from the medical field. So for this, I would like to mention that we have our MOU with MGM Hospital, where we are working with them for many problem statements. So we have doctors which are working on the problems. They need engineering knowledge. So it may happen that you are working on a joint project where you will be working with their problem statements and you will be giving your expertise, right? Now, as I said, I would like to put some time on the things which you can do. For example, if mechanical engineers are opting this subject, they can do the analysis and simulation, right? Now, if suppose you have to do the simulation of this lower jaw, which is called as mandible. So that only I said that you should understand this is called as a mandible. So that when you sit with the doctor and he is saying that this is maxilla, this is mandible, this is cancellous bone, so you should understand that things. For that, the knowledge will be given through this subject. So you should know how these joints are working so that you can incorporate it into your simulation and you can study the behavior of this. Then if you want to make a small instrument, like this instrument was made by one of the students to drill holes in the jaw. So you should understand how much force will be required, what this tip should be made up of so that it is not harmful to the human body. So this I want to try to tell you how engineering can be clubbed along with the medical knowledge so that proper problem statement can be addressed. Okay. So this is one of the instrument which was made. Then suppose if you want to make a robotic arm, right? You need to, and suppose you are using some EMG sensors. Then again, you need to understand how the signals can be sensed from the body and it can be transformed so that these arms can move on the command given by the brain. So now if you want to solve this problem, then definitely the knowledge of how the brain is working, how the muscles are behaving is must. Then this one was one of the case study in which the doctors need some guide plates so that the implants can be fixed properly with less time. So again, you see, all these things is not possible by a medical practitioner. They don't know what to do by force analysis or how to though I'm from mechanical engineering, I would be giving you more examples from this domain, but for other branches also, I will tell you there is a more need of electronical knowledge to develop instrument, because nowadays none of the instruments or laboratory equipments which are used by these doctors is made up of electronic circuits and all that. And if you talk about computer and IT students, there is a need of software development, image processing. Now they are working on projects where they can read the X-ray images and they can diagnose what is the problem or what the person is suffering from. So that all needs the knowledge of computer and IT domain. So for that, I would just like to give you some problem statements. Like suppose if you want to have a study on the biological network analysis of cancer propagation, you can use your knowledge of computer engineering and information technology, and you can work on this. Again, as I said, image processing definitely is one of the domain. And then as I said, you can make some device. Suppose if you're making any device, definitely there would be some mechanical engineering and electronical engineering which will come together and that device will be developed. Again, what are nanoparticles? We have drug delivery systems. So all these things needs the knowledge of materials. So as I said, this particular field needs knowledge of all domains. So every single student can contribute to this particular field and can work in this domain in their future. So with this, I would just like to know if you have any doubt, or definitely, as Sir said, you can reach us later on also if you want to know more about this domain. So thank you all.
Yeah, thank you, Richa ma'am. I will just check the chat box if you have any students have any query. Okay, so students can contact Richa ma'am in R002 CNC lab if you have any queries related to this subject. Now moving on to the next vertical, that is engineering design. It will be given by Prince Babakar.
Okay, thank you, Amay sir. I guess I am audible to everyone.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good morning, students. What we are going to discuss is about product design. So before I move into the contents of the uh, subject, so I would first like to emphasize, why is the need of this product design? So thing is, you all might be knowing, India is a hub is rightly called as a hub of manufacturing, different manufacturing industries. So the problem is like, so there are foreign companies who are basically setting up their manufacturing plants. But the thing that we are lagging is we have to still rely on the designs of those companies. So like the design part is basically still with the company. So the intention of this subject is to basically enhance the innovative mindset in the emerging students so that you can come up with some innovative designs. So basically government has started initiatives with the help of the Smart India hackathons and many other startup programs. So the intention is to make India also a frontliner in terms of product design. Is coming up with new innovative product concepts. So with that, let me just move ahead. So these are the course objectives of product design. So first of all, like, the intention of the program is to make you understand with the different product design concepts. So when I say product design concepts, it basically starts from your idea phase. So basically you think about a requirement. Based on that requirement, you try to make a rough sketch, then that you convert into a 3D model, then you make a prototype of it, and then you test it. So that is what basically we are going to cover in the concepts part. Then in product design methodologies, it basically comprises of 4 stages. That is, it is right called as 4Ds. So they are like discover, design, develop, and deploy. So it's one and the same as I mentioned earlier. So first thing is you have to identify what is the need, design on that need, then develop the system, and wherever it has to be implemented, there you have to deploy it. So also to understand like what are the different issues in industry based on product design and what are the needs in industry. Uh, so how this vertical is divided in your uh, ongoing semesters. So this semester you are having product design. Then next on SEM 7 you will be learning about design for sustainability, and lastly you will be learning about technologies for rural development. So that's all about the course objectives and how this vertical is divided. Now going on to module 1. So what we are going to discuss in module 1, the very first thing that you will be discussing or we will be studying is like, what are the different steps in any product design. Then, so here you will see something called as embodiment of a design. So embodiment is nothing but, what is a product architecture. So what are the different components in your product? How are they going to work? That is what you mean by embodiment of design. Then the next one that we are going to discuss in this is called as a product life cycle. So you all, I don't know whether you have heard about the CD cassettes and all. So like maybe 7 to 8 years back, wherein the internet was not so much, in hype, where very few people were using internet. So at that time, if you need to watch any movies, you basically used to buy some cassettes and then used to play it on your CD drive and then used to watch it. So now that industry has totally diminished. In product life cycle, that is what we are going to see, like how that industry began, then there was a growth of that industry, and then slowly it diminishes. Then next thing that we will be discussing here is like what are the different quality dimensions. So here we will be discussing about the ergonomics, aesthetic aspect, the sustainability part of the product, all those things. So this is what we are going to discuss in the module 1. Now in module 2, we are going to discuss about the different design factors. So, most of you have heard about ergonomics. So right now here you can see an example of a chair, an ergonomic chair. So basically it is designed so that the person who is sitting, he is not having any problems like backache issues or, some posture issues. So the thing is, there is another concept called as anthropometrics. So in order to make an ergonomic design, so you have to actually make measurements of the human body based on the postures and all. So anthropometrics is something which helps in making a good ergonomic design. So that part, these two aspects we are going to discuss. And then most of you might have heard about aesthetics. So this is how in olden days you used to keep the designs aesthetics should be would be of keeping any stuffs in your house, say your watch, the chairs. Now that has been totally innovated based on the new like what you can say new interest of the generations. So aesthetics part, then we are also going to discuss about like the comfort of the user, and finally whatever things you are considering, it should not be very costly that the end user cannot go for it. Then in this model we'll be also discussing about design thinking. Design thinking is quite a very important phase in any product design cycle. So as I mentioned in the first slide, so here eventually what you are going to do is you are going to start designing something from the scratch. So you may have to interact with some people, understand their requirements. So that is called as the empathize phase. Once you understand their requirements, then you sit try to make some rough sketches, that is called as the ideation. Then you convert that into a 3D model based on if you have any software experience. So that 3D model, you don't directly deploy it to the end user. You first make a prototype of it, test it. If everything is proper, then you basically go for deploying it to the end user. So that is nothing but all about design thinking. Then we will be also discussing about something called as axiomatic design concepts. So it's nothing but it's a systematic way of analyzing the transformation of customer needs into their functional requirements, design parameters, and the process parameters. This is what we are going to see in module 2. Then in module 3, so module 3 is all about, so what are the different, it's called as, so right now the diagram that you see here, it's called as DFX. So wherein the X is the variable part, which stands for design for excellence. So it's like when you design any product, if you are able to inculcate all these varying parameters, so whatever product you have designed would eventually satisfy from the company's perspective as well as from the individual's perspective. So there are different components in it that is designed for manufacturability, designed for assembly, which we will be discussing in detail once we start with the sessions on product design. So this is all in your module 3. Then coming to next module. So here we are going to discuss about the different design tools and techniques. So one is called as value analysis. So here it's just like you are trying to re-improvise your design by eliminating some unnecessary cost. That is not required. That is just increasing in the overall cost of your product. So that's what we are going to focus in this. So it has different ways of analyzing. So this is called as QFD, or the house of quality. So one approach is this. Then the second approach that you have is FMEA, that is failure mode effect analysis. So here what you do is you try to step by step, you try to figure out what are the different failures in the design, manufacturing process, or during the service of the product. Then the next thing that you have is reverse engineering. So reverse engineering is nothing but, it's like you already have a product. So maybe the challenge for you might be to make a miniature version of that product based on some application. So what you will do, you will try to dismantle it. You will try to take the dimensions of it, then recreate that part such a way it is suiting to the application for which you intend to use. So that is reverse engineering. Then we are also going to discuss about this, that is sequential engineering and concurrent engineering. So what happens? So there was a problem in the earlier days with respect to, the overall lead time or in the overall product life cycle time with respect to manufacturing. So if you are manufacturing any product, so it used to go in a sequential manner. So first the concept would be made, then it will be going for the designing, then the prototyping, product planning, and then it will be rolled out. Now the problem was that none of the people who are working in these different domains, they used to interact with each other. So there were no sort of communication. So what used to happen if there is the design engineer has made some design. Now, when it goes to the production or the shop floor, then they come to know that they are not having the equipments to make that. So because of that, since there was no intercommunication between each of these departments, so then there is to be a lot of loss in terms of money as well as the overall time taken to make a product. So hence, then something new was introduced called as a concurrent engineering, wherein people from all the departments are basically in contact when they are making any new product, so that the final cost as well as the final cycle time of making a product can be minimized. So that's what we are going to discuss in module 4. Now in module 5, we will be having a overview about what are the different ways of creating a prototype. So basically, you might be familiar with this 3D printing techniques, FDM, SLA, and SLS. So we will be having a discussion on this. Then we have something called as a top-down and bottom-up approach. So it's like how you're going to assemble. So are you going to assemble by assembling the individual parts, or else, are you going to do it in the other way around? That is the vice versa. So this we are going to discuss in module 5. And finally, in module 6, we are going to discuss in detail about the economic aspects of the product development. So like inflation, time value of money, then the patents and the IP rights with respect to a product. So that's what you will be learning in all these different contents of product design. Then coming to your internal assessment, so your internal assessment will be nothing but a mini project wherein you will be given a task of, wherein you have to create a product from the idea till the prototype stage. So it will be in 2 stages. So in detail about that will be, eventually conveyed to you once the program on product design starts. So that's all about product design. So if anyone is having any queries, you can feel free to ask to me, or you can put your queries in the chat.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sir.
So the internal assessment I have shown you one. So it will be basically divided into 2 stages. So first stage would be like, the idea generation, wherein you have to come up with a concept sketch. That would be your first stage. And the final stage is you are making a prototype based on that idea. Okay, in that way it will be. I hope so it is clear, Benjamin.
Okay. Thank you.
Hello, Binsu sir.
Yes.
Hello, Binsu sir. There is a question in the YouTube chat by Rachit Tandel. Sir,
Okay,
can we switch the ILOC after every SEM? Example, I want to study in IPR in SEM 6 and then study sustainability design in SEM 7.
I guess, sir, Amay sir, could you put some Amay Marathi sir? I guess it may not be.
Yes, Binsu, I'm here. So as I said earlier, you have to select one domain uh, at the beginning of semester 6, and you have to complete that particular domain in the upcoming semesters. So this is only the first subject in semester 6 under every domain. So there are subjects in semester 7 and semester 8 which are going to be there in every domain. So if you say, for example, if you have selected a domain of engineering design in semester 6, so the relevant two courses from engineering design you have to complete in semester 7th and semester 8th. I don't think we have the option to switch the ILOCs in the next semester. So you have to complete one complete domain. I hope that answers the question.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Okay, so the next domain which we have in the institute level specialization is arts and humanities. So any students who has any inclination or liking towards visual arts or any subjects from humanities, this particular domain is for them. And the first subject in this particular domain is visual arts. We have a recording which is sent to us by the faculty from the architecture department, which we are going to play now. And please post us any questions and we will get back to you on the answers from them. All right, thank you. So maybe we can go ahead, Amit.
Yeah, just a second, sir.
Craft, architecture, and many artistic disciplines such as performing arts, conceptual arts, and installation arts.
Sir, audio is clear, right?
Our syllabus.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Fundamentals of drawing. Study of natural and man-made forms, study of objects, and study from life. Creative painting. Basic techniques of creative painting, tools and equipment, and medium of painting. Creative sculpture. Introduction to clay modeling tools and techniques, study of natural and man-made objects. Murals and relief. Relief in clay, relief on copper, metal foil. In our curriculum, we cover the following topics: creative drawing and sketching, creative painting, creative sculptures, murals, and installations. Our course objectives: to promote the concept of visual design and understand the different meanings assigned to colors, its impact and problems, to instruct the basic skills required in drawing and painting through introduction in nature and study of steel objects, to prepare the learners for the use of clay modeling techniques and its industrial applications. Our course outcomes: learners will be able to acquire the skills necessary for aesthetic judgment, visual observation, and critical thinking required in different forms of art. Demonstrate the understanding of the concept of visual design with respect to the different meanings assigned to colors and the problems associated. Determine the importance of drawing and painting with respect to nature and steel objects. Perform successfully in expressing their feeling creatively. Develop the techniques required for clay modeling and sculptures for industrial use. Our elective assignments. Assignment 1. Creative round sculpture. Assignment 2. Relief sculpture. Assignment 3. Pencil drawing or sketching. Assignment 4. Canvas painting. Our elective assessment. Internal assessment 40 marks. End semester examination 60 marks. Thank you. Hello.
Yes. So students, if you have any queries related to this subject, please post it into chat box and we will get back to you, or we will share a contact with the faculty member.
Yes, so this subject is purely dealing with the creatives, and the next subject in this particular specialization is journalism, media, and communication studies. And for that, we have Dr. Malavika Sharma, madam, with us, who will share the orientation for this subject. So may I request, madam, to please take over? Thank you.
Hello. Ma'am, you're not audible. Hello.
Okay,
You
there
can
was
start.
some problem. Yeah. Is my screen visible, sir?
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay. Good afternoon to everybody. So today I'll be presenting the orientation for this subject, that is journalism, media and communication studies. So before I start with the syllabus, I would like to tell you that what is the need of journalism? Why do we need to study this subject? So this subject will actually help us to learn the nuances of reporting, researching and investigating, as well as writing. So people who have a good flair of writing, that is, who are interested in the written and spoken language, they should be interested in this course, because they will actually get an idea about not only how to write but also how to research and investigate, and then have an impact on the society as well. So apart from that, it will definitely help us to understand the technical skills as like layout designing, then web designing, photography, radio programming, then the production, video production, packaging and editing, and so on. So we learn a lot of things apart from just writing or reporting information to the audience. So let us go to the details of the syllabus. So the syllabus will be divided into 6 modules. We have the introduction first, then we have reporting and editing. Thirdly, we have writing for print, then we have writing for media, and then we have press, laws and ethics, and lastly, we have public relations and advertising. So let us deal with the details of the syllabus. So first, I will say that when you're introducing this topic, we will be talking about, definitely be giving you the definition of journalism, that is, what do we do in journalism? That is, we collect information and we also try to reproduce the information in such a way, keeping in mind the needs of the audience or to whom we are reporting the information, considering the purpose of sharing the information, and then we share the information accordingly. And so we'll talk about the history of journalism, that how it has evolved or how the changes have taken place, the way information is disseminated to people. And then we'll definitely discuss the purpose of journalism. So when we are dealing with all these aspects, we are actually helping the learners develop their critical thinking skills to think critically about journalism as such. And this journalistic process, how it has evolved as the way information is collected, disseminated, and consumed, that will be dealt with in this particular module. In the next module, we move on to reporting and editing. In this module, we will be particularly dealing with the audience. That is, we will understand who are the audience and accordingly prepare the content. And so when we prepare the content, we also have to take into consideration that are we trying to bring about changes in the minds of the audience? That is, are we trying to make an influence in the minds of the audience? That is very important, because as a journalist, we are just not reporting information or just not passing information or sharing information with the audience. We are also trying to make an influence on the minds of the audience. So we are trying to show them, what are the social issues and how those social issues could have an impact in the mindset of the people. So therefore, the tone of journalism is very important. How we write the content is going to have a greater impact on the audience. So the principles of editing will be taught to you. And of course, rewriting and translation will also be taught to you. So here we are trying to develop the skill of understanding and also understand the importance of reporting and editing. Next, we move on to module 3, that we write for the print. So in print, we write for the newspaper. And in newspaper, we write in so many ways. We put forward our views as a journalist. For example, we write content writing, we have opinion pieces, we have editorials, we have interviews, we have featured articles, we have profiles, we have reviews and criticism. So we are going to get an idea about all this, pieces of writing and how we are actually going to put forward our language, or how we are going to use language in order to create a greater impact. So here I will say we are developing the writing skill of the learners. And then the next module, that is writing for the media. In here, we will be talking about online newspaper. We are going to talk about blogs. We write in blogs, we write for social media, we use a cell phone when we write, when we share information using the WhatsApp. Then we write emails, okay, that is through electronic media. But we are also going to talk about social media, because now it has become a very influential platform, which has taken the present generation, I would say, people have become more like addictive, to their social media, because they are using social media not only for the purpose of definitely for the positive aspects, but of course it is definitely for the negative aspects as well. So we are going to see how we can use social media in a positive way. So all these things we are going to learn in this particular module. So again, it is the acquisition of writing skills that we are trying to deal with. Next module, I'll be dealing with the press laws and ethics. So apart from, just reporting and passing on information to the audience, we also need to understand what is ethics and how ethical it is to give certain information, and how ethically we can present information. So we should be understanding about law and morality. Knowledge of that is required. Then we should also have, we should also understand the laws that is required in the press. That is, a journalist should know what are the laws, and accordingly, he or she should report the information. So we understand the importance of press laws and ethics in this particular module. Next module will be dealing with public relation and advertising. Here, again, I'll be giving importance to the need of the audience, or what is the purpose of having our audience in mind, or keeping the audience perspective in mind. So we write on the basis of the purpose of the audience or the need of the audience, and accordingly we choose the content, and accordingly we also determine the tone of our language, the principles of editing, and of course rewriting and translation as well. So here we understand the techniques and strategies of public relation and advertising. So apart from, so now it all depends upon, I would say, even though we have IA1 and IA2, for this particular subject. And we have an SEM examination also. But I would think it will all depend upon the respective teacher, how he or she will try and evaluate you. And that evaluation could be done in many other ways, rather than just having an SEM exam or just having an IA1 and IA2. IA1 and IA2 can be there, but it can be done in a different way rather than having a written examination. So then, of course, you will have a more practical knowledge about this particular subject. So with this, I would like to thank you all for your patient listening. And in case you have any questions, you can definitely ask me.
Thank you, ma'am. Students, if you have any queries related to this curriculum or the syllabus, please post it into the chat box. So again, this visual arts and journalism media is coming under the same vertical, which is arts and humanities. Now, moving to the next group, that is applied sciences. We will start with the first orientation on the computational physics, which will be given by Khankar sir, Mahendra Khankar sir. Khankar sir, you're there? You're there, right?
Yeah.
So,
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. So we will go with polymers and polymetric materials that will be given by Deepali ma'am.
Yeah. Okay, so my screen is visible to all?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, good morning, students, or all the faculties present over here. And today, the orientation for polymer and polymeric materials. This is ILOC 367. As far as the subject is concerned, the polymer is a family of wonder and its materials for mankind. Polymer materials have taken a central stage in advancement of material science. And in recent times, with an emphasis to design and synthesis of new materials with unique properties, they are truly making wonders. The spectrum of polymer and polymeric material is very wide, covering diverse areas in energy, environment, healthcare, architecture, and various other fields. However, number of technological challenges remain for the future, which needs innovation, which can be done by you engineers. A vital advantage, if you can consider for these polymeric materials, is that they can be tailored. There is a difference. I would like to highlight the difference between tailoring and alteration. The tailoring is that you will take the material and you can design your own specific content by utilizing the different varieties of material. While alteration needs that just cutting, leaving, and designing the product. So in this, the vital advantage of polymeric material is that they can be tailored. That means composing two or more materials that have synergistic or antagonistic amalgamation of characteristics of various constituents. Polymer has biggest contribution in the chemistry that is far known to you from development of nylon from by Carruthers brothers. It came into existence and it's running. So these are the various fields from flexible electronics, organic solar cell, printable electronics, sensor, memory devices, stretchable elastic electronics, they can be used. There are many companies who are right now they are working on wearables, electrodes and low dielectric materials.
Polypropylene for currency notes is well known. Singapore, Cambodia, Vietnam, they all started using polypropylene for their currency notes. Knee joint bearing and this development by composite materials of polymers, this can be used. Polymers are also being used for biomedical and textile materials. They can be used for stems, smart textile, braided products. Artificial skin grafts and biodegradable polymers are also in this field. Polylactic acid is being designed for biodegradable polymers, and bone grafting, biocomposite materials for biomedical use. They are also being designed by many companies right now. Smart windows, as we have discussed that environmental friendly and architectural designs are now using glass with polymer interlayers for better safety, for heat resistance, and for this intense light cutting and cutting down the solar radiations. Plastic has proven the best friendly material in the pandemic state. In the COVID pandemic, they have been used one-time reusable plastics. As far as the synthesis of the polymer composite materials and the polymeric materials is concerned, in the institute, we have the spin coating machines and high temperature ovens. So the synthesis of multi-layer polymeric materials can be done here in the institute, and the curing and the other process of designing the material can be done. Blending and the properties, tailored properties can be done here in the institute itself. These are the basic polymer research in India. Synthetic aspect, polymer physics, polymer processing, polymer technology, polymer rheology. Being the student in Mumbai, you are having the availability of characterization techniques nearby, which is very good around you. So, processing synthesis can be done in the lab, and the characterization can be done nearby Mumbai. These are the markets which demands the plastic products, and they are the main growth drivers: agriculture, infrastructure, packaging industries, and automotives. Sorry. The diagram for uses of plastic, which is sector-wise, the building and construction, electronic and electronics, and right now the packaging industry is using the most polymer and polymer-based materials. There are many key players in the field of polymeric materials. They are Dow Chemicals, BASF, Celanese, Mitsubishi Chemical, Bayer, Eastman Chemical, Formosa Plastic, SABIC. They are all doing very good in polymeric industries. There are many startups right now for the polymeric industry. One startup for Wintech Polysol by Senthil Kumar is a very good startup, and it's doing good in the polymeric field. These are the course outline for SEM 6 polymer and polymeric material. You will be having 4 modules in which you will be having basic understanding of polymeric aspects, polymeric blends, which is the basic tailoring technique used for making the polymeric material. Combining 2 or 3 polymeric material, you can design the new structure, new polymer. Polymer composites, depending upon the end use, you can design the polymer composites, and the characterization technique, SEM, FEM, XRD, neutron scattering, small angle scattering. This all can be done here. Available in Mumbai, IIT Bombay, sophisticated analytical instrument facility available in Mumbai. You can do that. So these are the course outline, and I would like to refer if any question is being asked by the students. Thank you. Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Yeah, students, if you have any queries, please post it into chat box. Ma'am, internal assessment.
Wait. For internal assessment, we will be designing one online test paper, objective, and one a little subjective.
Okay.
So it will be 50-50%.
Okay.
One more question. I think it's regarding the polymeric material.
Yeah, that.
Is this a theoretical subject? Practical based actually. Theory because you need to do the practical, so you need a background of theory. So to do the practical, a little combination of theory and practical both, I can say. I think this addresses the question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Amey sir, you will be taking.
Yes, there was one more question from Ashish. He is asking whether banking, insurance, and capital markets will be covered under business and entrepreneurship. Yes, Ashish, I would like to answer that the next subject in business and entrepreneurship, like this semester we have entrepreneurship and IPR and patenting. The next subject in this specialization is e-commerce and e-business, business analytics, and digital business management and digital marketing. So I think banking, insurance, and all these markets will be covered under business and entrepreneurship specialization. Okay, so I hope that answers your question. So let us move to the next subject under applied sciences, which is computational physics, and we have Dr. Manohar Khankar with us. May I request Khankar sir to please proceed?
Okay. So good afternoon to everybody. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, sir.
So computational physics, basically, who should go for it? Okay. So those who have learned a computer programming language, say C or Python, that is enough at the beginning. No advanced knowledge in computing is needed. Okay. So those who are not deep or purely into or completely into the computing, this is a bit window made wider for them to go for more advanced computing. And obviously next is inclination towards the research in science. Okay, so I'm talking a bit about computational science in general. Okay, so computational science deals with wide variety of topics. So first is physics. Now in physics you write a code using some programming language which gives you the behavior of as small as electron, as big as black holes, galaxies, and whole universe. You can simulate a whole universe on your computer. Okay, that is very much possible. Then chemistry, chemical reactions, materials, medicine. See, nowadays in pharmacy industry, medicines are not made in the labs. They are made on computer first. Then they are tuned and then they are actually made in the lab. Okay, in biology, this is one of the biggest field computers are being used. Structure of proteins, cells, viruses. This typical virus, in pandemic, that COVID virus, how it can enter the cell, it can puncture the human cell, get inside, make its copies, and damage it. This was possible with the help of computer simulation when they were supported by actual microscopic techniques. Okay, there is one more aspect to that. I will come in the later slightly. Neural networks. I mean to say these are natural neural networks inside our brain. Then body movements, especially for sports person, kinesiology, which I think is the science of muscles, economics. Okay, computational science has a lot to do with economics, like banking, stock markets. Okay, you can tell whether stock market is going to be stable or it is going to be crashed. Okay, that is possible by writing a proper program and inputting the all the parameters which are associated with stocks. Social sciences, okay, behavior of groups. If you consider crowd, why crowd behave in a particular way, okay, how they interact, opinion dynamics. Okay, all these are being dealt computationally. For example, I'm just bringing this COVID virus in these social sciences. If this particular pandemic has to spread, then how you can make it stop? Okay, so which link should be cut? What do you mean by link? Means which persons should be isolated so that it cannot grow further. Okay, so this can be modeled using computer programming, and this is very effective. Not only now, this has been effective since long, and the particular topic or field is that of percolation, is basically is encompasses biology and social sciences together. Okay, then what are career prospects? So see, this is our course is basically introductory, but if you go on pursuing this same career, the computational science or physics in particular, further, is a great opportunity to be a good scientist. So after learning basics of computational science in this particular course, one can go for higher degrees, say PhD, by choosing the field of own interest, and can get an opportunity to work on big and small scientific laboratories all over the world. And you have definitely challenging problems to deal with. Okay, the latest one is quantum computing. Everyone must be listening to this. So quantum computing has to do with actual hardware, and writing challenging software is also a big thing. Then computing, okay, as I mentioned, those who have not fully into computing but have a basic knowledge of a computer language, that is enough to go ahead in this using in the field of computing, using the door of computational science, computational physics in general. So nowadays all advanced tools, AI, artificial intelligence, machine learning, data mining, all are being used in scientific research extensively. Okay, so even if you don't have opportunity to learn AI, ML, and data mining during your undergraduation, once you in computational science, you have all the opportunity to learn these all advanced techniques. Okay, so those who have not learned initially, they get a chance to learn them during their careers. So in this course, we are building the foundation for that. Apart from doing research in science, you have other doors open as well. So all the fields need, all these fields, huge computing power. Okay, so one gets chance to learn, opportunity to work on big computing platforms like supercomputers, huge clusters in their later career. I will just mention one field, for example, weather prediction. Weather prediction is one of the most challenging problem for the whole science plus computing field as well. Okay, so everybody is nowadays everybody is worried about global warming and climate. So how to go ahead with that? So this was all about career. So coursework, I'm just discussing the outline here. So one has to learn initially statistical physics. Okay, the basics have been learned in first engineering, though in semiconductor physics we have learned a bit of statistical mechanics. Okay, one has to go a little bit ahead of it. So it is not very new to you, the students. They have learned it a little bit of it first engineering. See why it is needed. If you see all earlier these things, AI, ML, data mining, at the core of them, there is statistics. What you need is a huge data. But to get a meaningful information, you must do or apply the tools of statistics. Okay, so for physics in particular, in computational physics, you have to go for statistical physics. Means laws of statistics applied to physical system like atoms, molecules, and so on. Then molecular dynamics simulations. So molecular dynamics is nothing but computer programming plus Newton's laws applied to molecules. That's it. As simple as that. Monte Carlo simulation. Monte Carlo simulation is random sampling of data. Okay, you don't have to do with laws of mechanics or like Newton's laws, but random sampling. Okay, actually Monte Carlo simulation is applicable almost everywhere, not only in the physics, chemistry, biology, but everywhere in social science, in financial sciences, everywhere you can go for Monte Carlo simulations. And we'll be doing though at introductory level quantum mechanical simulations. Okay, a couple of examples in that, but mostly what we'll be learning in detail is statistical physics, doing the theoretical base, preparing the theoretical base for the detailed study of molecular dynamics simulations and Monte Carlo simulations. Okay, so I'm giving you a little bit what computer simulation is meant. What do you mean by computer simulation? So simulation is a modeling of a system with another dissimilar system. For example, if you want to learn what happens when two car crashes, you cannot actually make two car crashes. You can take toy cars, make them crash and see what is the damage, and then scale up the damage to real accident. So that is a simulation. In computer simulation, modeling a system is in computer program, as simple as that. Okay, why simulate? What is the need? So carrying out an experiment in the laboratory is not possible all the time, because there are extreme conditions like high temperatures, high pressure, which you cannot create inside the laboratory. And sometimes building up an experiment is highly cost bearing. That is not possible. So computer programming helps a lot. Real systems can be studied are too huge to handle. For example, colliding galaxies. You cannot go up and make the galaxies collide. You can do it only on computer. Or if they are too small, if you want to study a single electron, it's very difficult to separate out a single electron, though we have advanced technologies. The best way is to study it using computer programming. Okay, analytical solutions are not possible many places. Okay, analytical solutions means setting up mathematical equations and solving them exactly. They are not possible always. As simple as three-body interaction. For example, we know Earth and Moon, they interact with themselves using gravity. But what if you bring in Earth, Moon, and Mars? It's not solved yet. So three-body interaction is very difficult analytically, but computer simulation can do that. Theoretical models are too simplistic. For example, most of the models which can be written on paper using mathematical equations, they are mostly one-dimensional. What if it's three-dimensional? It's very difficult. But in simulation, you can go to higher dimension, 2-dimension, 3-dimension, or even hypothetical dimensions 4, 5, 6. Okay, sometimes time scales are very large. Can you study process of evolution? It is not possible. Evolution has been there since lakhs of years, crores of years. But you can, on computer, you can write a program and make it go fast. So process of evolution, genetic manipulations, they are too large time scales, or sometimes time scales are too small. So events occurring at a fraction of second. Okay, a nanosecond. You cannot study it in the laboratory very easily. It's very difficult. So computer simulation can speed up slow process like evolution, or you can slow down the fast one in both ways. Okay. Safety and ethical issues. Can you study a crash landing of an aeroplane? You cannot make a plane crash land and see what is the damage, all this thing, because there are ethical issues. Life of the pilot is at stake. Okay. Forest fire. You cannot go in the forest and set up a whole forest on fire and study how it spreads. That's not a good way. Okay. Studying viral infection. You cannot do that. Medical students learning on simulated nowadays. Okay, so there are many safety and ethical issues involved in actual experimenting. In this place, simulation comes to very useful tool. So, and last one is computers are getting more and more powerful nowadays, and uh, less expensive also. So these allow large scale system to study very easily. On the desktop, you can study many systems. Okay, so how simulations are done? Simulations, a program is written, then it is executed, its output is looked at, and results are compared with already established results, maybe from experiment. Then if there is a problem, mismatch with the established results, fine tune your code, go for next execution. So initial input is needed, mostly they are from actual observations. Okay. Computer simulation mainly used in science and technology problems, but in sociological studies also, as I have mentioned. So collective behavior of humans like crowds, dynamics of languages, traffic jams, how birds fly together, bacterial colonies, fish, financial models. I think actually I have discussed this in general. Mostly there are two methods of simulation which we are going to study in this coursework: molecular dynamics. It's as simple as Newton's laws of motion applied to classical system, and somewhat quantum mechanical formalisms where you use Schrodinger equation. Everybody has learned Schrodinger equation in first year. Monte Carlo is random sampling of data, which you know in some way or the other in other things. I will just give one simple example and then we'll stop for by. So this is, suppose you have a square inside which a circle is inscribed. You don't know how to find area of the circle, but you know how to find area of a square. How to simulate it? It's called as a Monte Carlo. This is the first example of Monte Carlo. Okay, to teach a student what is Monte Carlo. So draw a large number of points in the inside the square. Some of them will fall inside the square, some of them will not. Okay, so Monte Carlo means sampling of square area randomly. Remember, Monte Carlo is random sampling. So some of them will fall in the circle, some of them will outside of. So what is the area of the circle? A rough estimate, square area into in the ratio of number of points inside the circle divided by total number of points. If you increase number of points dropped randomly inside a square, you get more and more accurate estimation of area of circle. Okay, so I'm just giving the taste of is basically random number generation. So we will learn in the beginning of Monte Carlo what do you mean by random number, how to generate random number generation is a one different field in computing nowadays. The better the random number, more better is the estimate. You need random number generation in AI, you need random number generation in machine learning, you need random number generation in data mining. All at one of the basic requirement of all advanced computing techniques nowadays is random number generation. The basics we will learn probably in the beginning of this course itself. Okay, so I think I will stop it here. Any queries or any questions? Or you can meet me in the physics lab. So I'm done.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Okay, so now we will move to the last group, that is life skills, repair, maintenance, and safety, in which we will be having two orientations. We will start with vehicle safety by Dr. Divya Padman.
Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, ma'am. It's visible.
Very good afternoon to all the students who are here for the orientation. So this is the first of the courses that you have under the specialization of life skills, repair, safety and maintenance. And the name of this particular course is vehicle safety. Okay. And I'm sure all of you want to own a car at some point of time, sooner or later. And many of you are already driving cars. Most of you have had the experience of being in a car and moving to some locations. Nevertheless, not just that. This is a subject, I would say, that anyone who is anyway concerned or anyway either has been driving or just uses an automobile, a vehicle, any point of time. You should be aware of certain basic aspects related to vehicle safety, and that is what this particular ILOC subject tends to offer to you all. Okay. Most of you know that distracted driving is considered to be a major factor that leads to vehicle accidents. Yes, vehicle accidents is the problem that somewhere we are trying to address through this subject of vehicle safety. Not just that, we are also trying to create an awareness among everyone, students inclusive, that there are many things that can be addressed in order to ensure that vehicles are safe. I'm sure you all, suppose you are given a chance, you have some money today and you have a chance to go and buy your own vehicle. What are the things that you would look for? I'm not questioning you right now, but I'm sure one important thing is going to be the safety of the vehicle. No one is going to buy a car which is deemed as unsafe, right? So vehicle safety is a very important aspect when it comes to not just the drivers, but also anyone who is there on the roads, which means suppose you are driving, you are inside seated in a vehicle, or you are just walking on a road as a pedestrian. Even then, this is something that should, you should be concerned about certain issues related to vehicle safety. So you can see some of these statistics there on the screen there. I'm not going to read all of that, but let me just tell you that as the automotive industry thrives in India, as the purchasing power of people increases year by year, you see that there are lots and lots of vehicles which are added to the Indian roads. Okay, so and with these increasing numbers, the number of accidents which are happening year by year is also increasing, and which is a real concern for everyone. Okay, the reason is accidents, like what happens with an accident? I'm sure you all know there is some emotional loss, there could be a physical damage, there are emotional losses, but let me tell you that there are lots of cost also involved in every accident. Look at those numbers there on the screen. Every day there are something like 1,214 road crashes. And these road crashes, two-wheelers account for 25% of the total deaths which happen. So every minute there is a serious road accident. Every 60 minutes, there are 16 people who die in an accident. Okay. And if you look at it cumulatively, as per one of the reports, around 377 people die every day just because of an accident. And that is equivalent of a jumbo jet crashing every day. Isn't that a huge number? Okay. So this is the concern that needs an addressal, not just at an Indian level, at a global level. And in fact, it was the United Nations, the WHO, they are the ones who actually started off with this, creating an awareness among different countries to inculcate different aspects of safety, not just with the regulatory authorities, but also with the automotive manufacturers. You see, 5 years back, if I say in India, any car that you had, not necessary that they would have an airbag, something as simple as an airbag. Airbag, I hope everyone knows that airbag is a feature which addresses the safety of the vehicle. Okay, so airbag is meant for protection of the occupants if a crash occurs. So something like an airbag, even knowing that airbag will definitely help in saving lives, an airbag was not a necessary fitment in the automobiles 5 years back, 10 years back. You had to pay additional, you had to pay some 1 lakh, 1.5 lakh rupees extra if you wanted an airbag in your vehicle. Okay, but today, in fact, a lot of changes have happened with respect to the regulations in India itself in the last 3 to 4 years. So with this Bharat New Vehicle Safety Assessment Program, that is our own NCAP program, now it is mandatory that every car that is rolled out by an automotive industry has got an airbag as a compulsory fitment. Not just an airbag, there are other fitments also which is being mandated in the present times. So, I mean, I'm just trying to tell you that even this aspect of safety is being addressed at various levels presently. And the primary reason for so much of a focus on vehicle safety, particularly in the last few years, it is because of the huge costs which are associated with accidents. Why are we trying to address vehicle safety? We would want to minimize accidents. Why do we want to minimize an accident or accidents generally? Because you saw those huge numbers, almost like a jumbo jet crashing every day. So why do we want to why do we want to end up with a scenario where we are losing lives, losing huge amount of money in these crashes, right? So you can look at, there are social costs associated with every accident. There are medical costs, of course. There are economic costs. If you look at in a cumulative way, almost 1.35% of the nation's GDP is lost in these accidents. Yes. Okay. And that's why we would want to minimize accidents. This is not just at the Indian, at the Indian level, the national level, but on a global level. And with this primary motto that we need to cut down on the number of people who are losing lives in accidents, there was this initiative started by WHO. And this was all about to create an awareness by incorporating various safety systems inside the vehicle. And that particular campaign went by the name of Save Lives, SAVELIVES, Save Lives. It tried to cover various aspects with respect to vehicle, not just vehicle, even pedestrian rules and all, and vehicle body structures in order to address the vehicle, the accidental crash scenarios. Okay. So I'm not looking into this particular thing completely right now, but what I'm trying to tell you is that these are the things which this particular subject, vehicle safety, would try to address through the contents that it has to offer to you all. Okay. So see, one particular objective of this particular, the Save Lives campaign was to bring down the numbers of the accidents to 0. Very ambitious number, but a lot of people, this is something which everyone has to work collectively. Okay, so, and a lot of work has been going on in this particular field, and the aim by 2030, it is to have a scenario with 0 accidents. Yes. Okay. So what are the contents of this course? As I've been talking, initially we'll be starting with what is this vehicle safety all about? What are the different approaches to vehicle safety? We'll also look into this WHO campaign in detail. We'll also look into various things. Most important, I would say, India's own new car assessment program that goes by the name of BNVSAP, Bharat New Vehicle Safety Assessment Program. In fact, the direct outcome of that BNVSAP is that the cars that we have today are much, much more safer as compared to what our cars were 10 years back. And somewhere I'm sure a few of you will definitely have heard about star ratings in cars. So these star ratings which are given in cars, it is primarily to give an indication about how safe the cars are. Okay. So among the other contents that we would be covering in this particular course, it is something about the different types of crashes. What is the role of human beings? How can errors be controlled? What are the different types of crash tests being done? the use of dummies. I'm sure a few of you definitely know. You can see that middle picture. That's the picture of a dummy. So dummies are something that is, they're basically devices which are used to assess the scenario when a crash happens. Okay, crashes are simulated definitely, but crashes are also being done in the physical environment. Yes. Okay, and so crash testing, the use of dummies, the relevance of these star ratings, then the, I don't know whether you're aware or not, but there's a lot of importance to the data that is collected from accidents. Yes, every police station is supposed to have the data of all the accidents which happen in its jurisdiction. So these data, the accident data also has a lot of information which is actually going to the regulatory authorities and then communicated also to the automobile manufacturers to make improvements to the safety aspects in the vehicles. It could be different aspect of a vehicle. There's the vehicle body or some implementing a particular safety system into the vehicle, a lot of things. Okay. Then we'll also look at many other things like the crash, different types of crashes, then a little importance to the rear crashes and what are the different things which could ensure that the rear crashes are, the effect of a rear crash or any other crash can be mitigated. Okay. Then we will also, through this course, this particular course will also address accident analysis and reconstruction of accidents. Yes, there is a career which is known as accident analyst and also accident reconstructionist. There are courses also being offered on accident reconstruction. So there's a lot of vital information that one can generate by these analysis of accidents, and which are then made use of to make the vehicles better, to make the roads also better. Then we have another module which will talk directly about the different types of safety features that you can get to see in the present day cars. And at least for this particular subject, there is also going to be an activity to create awareness among students or this particular locality. So to create awareness with respect to safety, vehicle safety, particularly on the roads. Okay, so this is what primarily this particular subject is going to offer. So the goals of vehicle safety, primarily I can put it, I can just condense everything what I've been talking about: save lives and save money. Okay, lives, because one important thing, no one wants to lose lives which can be saved, right? So typically it has been found that most people who end up losing their lives in an accident kind of a scenario, they are in the peak years, they are in their productive years. So a person losing life in the prime of his existence. That means, if you look at it cumulatively, there are many other things that get affected. So if at all we can make a small attempt to save the lives which are lost in an accident, it will go a long way. So that is this particular subject all about. And with respect to the assessments, as has been pointed out earlier also, typically it's a 40-60 kind of an assessment, 42 internal assessments of 40 marks each, but the assessment need not be compulsorily a pen and paper kind of an assessment. It could be different activities or anything else. Okay. So that is it about vehicle safety. If you have any queries, you can post it here, or you could meet me personally and ask either way. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you for this presentation. Now the last subject in life skills, repair, maintenance and safety is maintenance of electronic equipment. And for that, we have Dr. Khade sir with us, who is going to share his perspective on this subject. So may I request Khade sir to please take over? Thank you.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, sir.
Can you see the PPTs? Hello?
Not yet.
Not yet, sir.
I have shared.
No, sir, not yet. Yeah. Yes, now it's visible, sir.
Thank you. Good afternoon, all. This subject, maintenance of electronics equipment, this is under specialization, life skills, repair, maintenance, and safety. There are two subjects and one subject, vehicle safety. Is already that information is already given by Dr. Divya Madam. Now, for this subject, weekly there will be 3 hours. Out of 3 hours, 1 hour theory lecture and practical lab work of 2 hours. Like this, total 3 hours are there. And IA1, IA2, for IA1 and IA2, there is term work. We'll do one project, electronic project in this subject. And depending upon your project, how the output you are getting, the marks of IA1 and IA2 will be given to you. And at the end of semester, there is 30 marks for term work and practical 30 marks. So whatever project you have done, you will have to write report of that and give presentation. You will have to make the PPTs and give presentation. There will be external examiner. In front of external examiner, you will have to give the presentation. So term work and practical, that will carry total 60 marks. That is end semester exam. There is no IA1, IA2 like pen and paper exam. But depending upon your project work, marks will be assigned. Now, course objectives to demonstrate use of different types of handheld tools used in electronics lab. The various tools you will learn, for example, multimeter, how the current can be measured, how the voltage can be measured, resistor, capacitor, inductor, how they can be checked. That you will understand here. Then understand testing of different active and passive components. There will be some active components in your project like diode, BJT, MOSFET. So how they can be tested. And passive component also, like resistor, capacitor, how to test them, how to find their exact value, that you will study in this. Then understand functionality of TTL and CMOS digital ICs. Generally, CMOS ICs are used nowadays. We will understand, we'll study the functionality of these two ICs. Then demonstrate computer assembling, troubleshooting, and software installation. Then to understand, demonstrate concept of circuit diagram of LED, LCD TV, DTH, and mobile phone troubleshooting. And to understand concept of medical equipment. Then course outcome. After successful completion of the course, students will be able to demonstrate use of different types of handheld tools in electronics lab, understand testing of different active and passive components mounted on PCB, understand functionality of TTL CMOS IC tester also. How the IC can be tested. We have an IC tester. Whether the IC is good or bad, that we have to test before it is used in any circuit. Then use of TINA software, electronic circuit simulation software. It's a small project you will have to do. I will show what type of project last year it was done by our student. So for simulation purpose, this TINA software is used. And there is one software, PCB Wizard. This is used for manufacturing of the PCB. Then understand, demonstrate concept of electronic circuit diagram. You have to design the circuit. There are simple formulae. Once you design the circuit, how the circuit will work, that we'll study first on paper. And how to troubleshoot the circuit. Then understand use of CRO for measurement of frequency and voltage levels. The project done in last year by our student is like this. Where we generate using timer IC 555. Last year, nearly 60 students were there. And we made group of 3 or 4 students from your branch only. And they will be assigned one project. Even though the same project was given to all the groups, there were differences in the frequency, duty cycle, high level voltage levels. So each project, even though title was same, each project was different in design. So last year students have done square wave generator using timer IC. Even simple circuit I have shown here. It requires some resistors, some capacitors, power supply of 5 volt, then diode. Again, the circuit diagram will also change slightly depending upon the frequency and duty cycle. For example, if 50% or less than 50% duty cycle is required, then diode is required. If it is more than 50%, then this diode is not required. So in theory, we'll learn the operation of this IC or what your components are required in your project. In theory lecture, we'll learn all those components. Then in any electronic project, once you design a circuit on paper, before manufacturing, we can simulate it and test it, whether it is working according to our expectation or not. So this TINA software plays a major role to test the circuit, to simulate the circuit and check whether it works according to our expectation or not. If the circuit doesn't work according to our expectation, we'll have to make changes in the circuit. And once we are satisfied, then only we can go for the production. We can make PCB and everything. So this TINA software we have. Once the problem is assigned to you, first you have to design that circuit on paper. Once you design it on paper, then using this TINA software, we'll simulate that circuit and we'll check whether we are getting the same frequency, same duty cycle, same voltage level or not. Some 5% tolerance will be there. And once we are satisfied with the simulation result, then we start the hardware project. For project, we require the PCB. This PCB we have to manufacture. We'll have to make this PCB in our electronics lab. So for that, a piece of copper clad is given to you. And you will have to pattern the PCB. See, from selective area, the copper portion is dissolved. And for that, for making this PCB, we'll have to use one software. We have one software, PCB Wizard. Using that PCB Wizard software, first we'll have to make the drawing of the PCB. Once you make the drawing of the PCB, then on a piece of this copper clad strip, we'll pattern those paths. For example, here paths are shown and few components. For example, 555 IC is which is 8-pin IC that is connected here, that is soldered here, and all other components are also soldered. So this PCB making, everything will be taught in the classroom and in the laboratory, how to use that software, PCB Wizard software, and how to make the PCB. The main thing, when you make the project, if you have group of 3 or 4 students, each student will have to remain present and work on the project. It is not like you have group of 4 and 2 students are coming and other 2 are not coming in the lab. So all group members will have to come in the lab. They will have to do the design. They will have to manufacture the PCB. Once the PCB is manufactured, then the various components are soldered. How the soldering is done, that is also taught in the classroom as well as in the laboratory. See, last year, this component, one group had made this project and they have mounted, they have soldered the component, required component on the PCB. Once the circuit is ready, then it is tested. Its output is checked on the CRO. And in theory as well as practical, I told total 3 hours each week. Out of 3 hours, 1 hour will be theory lecture. In that, on the instrument which we require in the lab, they will be explained to you. For example, this CRO you require. The CRO, its functioning of various knobs, various buttons, everything will be explained. Then in lab session also, these instruments will be explained. Like this power supply is also explained. Then function generator, how the signal can be given from function generator, various functions available in the function generator which we have in our lab. That will be explained in the class as well as in the lab. See, after making the circuit, the student will have to take all photographs and they will have to make one report. See here, you can see the square waveform on the CRO screen. How to take reading, that will be explained. Then there is one charging, discharging waveform of capacitor. Why you will get waveform like this, that will also be explained. And all the readings will take on CRO screen. The reading, when we simulate the circuit using TINA software, that time also all reading will be taken. And if the simulations result satisfied, if we get all proper reading, then only we can go for manufacturing. To see the CRO output, all these photographs, you will have to take and make a report. See this CRO screen. In our lab only, student took these photographs. Okay, so like this, one project you will have to make. The main thing is our student will have to attend each and every lecture as well as the lab session. Because last time I observed last year, 2, 3 students were there, they have not reported to the lab. So I told them, I removed them from the group and they were told to do the individual project. सबको अलग-अलग problem दे दिया and then at the end of semester they have done their individual project. That's why from the beginning I tell attendance for each lecture and practically is essential because if it's your project, you will have to make it. Many things you will learn. I will say this is one good chance for computer student, IT student, mechanical and auto student to learn about the PCB making, what are different steps to make the PCB, which material is used, which chemicals are used. And last year, many students enjoyed this subject. And the main enjoyment is, main happiness is when you get the best result on the CRO screen. The students were so happy when they got the best result, best reading within 5% tolerance. Suppose I have no problem to design square wave generator of 1000 frequency. Those students got even 970 or 1020 within 5% tolerance. They were very happy. I was also happy when they got good result. Regarding internal assessment, I already told the marks based on project work will be given. So if internal I1 is after 5 or 6 weeks, so whatever work you had done in those 5-6 weeks, depending on that, marks will be given out of 30. Similarly for IA2, means after 2.5 months to 3 months, there will be IA2. So what work you have done, what type of result you are getting. So depending on that, marks will be given. Then end semester exam, you have to make one project report nearly of 30 to 40 pages. Then you have to make PPTs and give presentation in front of external examiner. And that term work will carry 30 marks and the presentation, that oral exam will carry 30 marks. 30 plus 30, 60 marks. Then few books are written in the syllabus. But if you attend the lecture, that is enough. The note and everything I will give. How to refer the data book manual, for example, National Semiconductor Manual, or getting the data, different rating of the devices of components, you can learn here. Then manuals of CRO, function generator, power supply, digital IC trainer, that also you can study here. This is all about this subject. If you have any queries, you can ask me.
Thank you, Bhadis sir. So students, the choice form for ILOC, shall be circulated amongst you by your HOD. Please think over it. Please think over the area which you want to opt for. Have a word with your mentor. Have a word with your HODs. If you have any queries regarding making the choice of the domain while selecting the ILOC, the choice form will be circulated soon, and you all have to fill that choice form by the given date. The dates shall be informed to you by the HODs. All right. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining the session. Thank you. So if you have any questions, please put it in the chat box, and we'll get back to you with the answers to those questions. Thank you.